Sume Elevate checking in with you again, and this time we're going to be talking about how to be resilient, how to push through and be adaptive and go with the flow of the world, not against the flow of the world. Oh, what do I mean by going against the flow of the world? This is like finding out little problems with your life, finding out that, oh, I'm not enough, I have less resources. You have this mindset of, I cannot fulfill my mission on this earth because I do not have the required money, I don't have the kind of, I don't have the kind of equipment that I need. It's like thinking that you don't have enough. And that's the kind of mindset that sort of hinders you into going into this kind of scarcity mode. And so, in order to change that, we have to go with the flow of the world. Now, you may say that, oh, Sume, doesn't that mean that, like, you're saying to be really mainstream and go with the norm of what is right and popping right now? Well, in a sense, I am, but also you have to question things. You have to take things as they come. You have to be able and willing to adapt to certain situations. Say there's a new trend that's going on. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to follow it, but you might experiment with it and you might end up liking it in the long run, you know? Because what is popular right now in this era and what is trending right now is trending for a reason. And it's gonna change. It's constantly changing. And over time, we're trying to come up with new trends. So why would you try and just grasp onto these past ideals? Because that's a kind of limited mindset. If you're thinking like, it has to be a certain way, then you're sort of limiting yourself in a sense. So what does that mean? I mean, you could say that, oh, good-fashioned ideals. That's what we need in today's society. Just very decent, young, caring human beings. And that's a good way to look at it, but that's not the whole picture. You have to look at all these other factors that make someone an individual, that influences their personality. So we must realize that life isn't this or that. It isn't good or bad. It's just good or bad to varying degrees. So I might say that this necklace is good, but then I think about all the other good things that make goodness good. And then this necklace isn't so good compared to something else. So that's why I say comparison is the thief of joy. You know? It's really that we can't compare our journey to somebody else's journey. We have to focus on our own journey. And it's like life is never spiteful and it's never, the greatest, most, it's just these learning lessons that we take and we build on it and it's an experience, it's an experience that you live through. So you're shaped by your choices that you make every single day. Where you are right now is because of the choices or decisions that you've made in the past. So whatever choice that you make right now could have a direct influence on your future potential. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered that if you just decide to start something out of the blue, it can just manifest and metamorph into something great and fulfilling? So just try and be willing to make new choices. Try and make new choices and alter your frame of thinking. Because when we're open to change, when we're really flexible and when we're willing to have things come our way or knock us down, that struggle is actually building a kind of strength within us, What do we do when we're working out, We're just putting ourselves through this stressful period. And by doing that, we're becoming stronger because it's building up our kind of immunity in a way. So the way I imagine resilience is kind of like an elastic band. You go through these stressors and then you flex back into that original shape that you were. And really, it's a reflex. Resilience is like a reflex, and so you have to build it. You have to build it like a muscle, almost. What does resistance training do? It's like you're resisting your muscles, and that's causing a kind of growth, So consider that metaphor. Now, I really want to mention the power of improvisation and mindfulness, because we need mindfulness and attentiveness in order to improvise. We have to look to our surrounding environment. Just like a child can make chopsticks into a pair of drumsticks, we have to find a way in order to make new connections, new neural connections for ourselves in order to be resilient. And look for resources around us, because sometimes these things are hidden in our plain sight. But it's up to us, and it's up to our ability to innovate, that we can really pull these things toward us. A good way to improvise and finding out how you can improvise is really by going into your body and focusing on your impulses, and find out where your energy is flowing through you, and also noticing little patterns around you. Another way of cultivating resilience is just asking for help, man. Because sometimes we're just too afraid to ask for help. We feel like we're gonna judge them, we think that they're cooler than us or something, and we get into our heads and we don't actually do it. But really, it's about creating a network, creating a network of people that are like-minded individuals like you, making friends, establishing new relationships with people. Even if it's a business relationship, there's still value in that. There's still a connection there. And so if you have a like-minded goal that somebody else has, just try and ask them for a guide. Try and ask them for the kind of boost that you need. What boosted them? Like, there's things that motivate me from a primal id level, right? There's like money and like other things too, but those are just the lowest forms of motivation. Then there's the highest form of motivation, which is a grand goal. You see yourself in the grand scheme of things. You find a meaning in your life, and that's really what pushes you out of that negative spiral, is that you find that this is supposed to happen, right? Like, whatever is happening to you is supposed to happen to you because of your choices that you've made. And the sooner you come to terms with that, and the sooner that you realize that you are the creator of your own destiny, as cliche as that sounds, you will find massive improvements, and you'll see this within you, and so stop being so passive and start getting active, start getting outside, start walking around barefooted in the grass and be really grounded. Start taking classes and tutorials into things that you really like. Self-educate yourself, not just get an education, but self-educate yourself. Read books, learn how to speed read, Some of the greatest people and richest people on earth know how to speed read. So you have to be able to cultivate that for yourself. You have to be able to just go into what you love doing without any preconceptions or notions. Be open-minded and willing to struggle through it. Be willing to stop there. Because the things that you struggle through and you don't make it, that's just life reminding you you're not supposed to be there. You're meant to be doing something greater than that. You're meant to be doing something that is synchronized with your personality, with your identity. We live in a society of results, right? And so people push us very hard. External influences, our parents, the environment around us, we get pushed to our limit, basically. And sometimes we just have to take little breaks, And there's a phenomenon called karoshi, which is death from overworking. This is a real thing. People actually kill themselves because they work too hard. And I can understand why. Like, think of that rubber band analogy again. If you stretch it too much, sooner or later, your life's going to hit a crisis and it's going to break. But even in that crisis, we can reshape ourselves. We are not a rubber band anymore, but we are rubber, and we can mold our lives however we choose to. So take that analogy into consideration. Really, you have to try and figure out, what can I do with my time and energy that's going to be beneficial to me, but also beneficial to people around me. Like, I can find value in the little moments too. Just sitting and enjoying the sunlight, you know? Just being able to witness an epic moment in history go down. But also in creating and emanating confidence makes you resilient automatically. You know, you imagine yourself as someone that you want to be, and through that, you are kind of telling your brain that you already are that person. So keep doing that. Keep striving, keep living up to your full potential, and step your life game up, man. Guys, I really recommend that you check me out on Instagram, that's @splashlife, and check out my Twitter, sumeswag, also my Tumblr, sumeswag. You know what it is. I'm on Periscope too, doing little live streams sometimes, and that's linked to my Twitter, obviously. So check me out. They will be on the description below.